Yo, JD here, Loomis, and as you can see here today, we are back in AOR at Silverstone, Britain, and this is probably my most enjoyable track on the game, and the lap you're seeing here is a lap I did in practice on the Prime tyre, which is pretty much the tyre to start on for this race because it is easily a one-stop if you start on this tyre. So it's it's a must really because the pit lane is so long. You definitely do not want to be doing a two-stop. And my thoughts coming into this race, I was probably the most confident I've been this season going into a race. My race pace was pretty insane in practice. It was really, really quick and rapid, and I was practicing with Tyrrell Martin as well. And I know he's very, very quick, but compared to against his times, it was looking super, super promising. So if you can be ahead of him, then you could go be in for a good race this time. So yeah, really, really confident for this. And in qualifying as well, I focused quite a bit on qualifying for this race. I did a lot of practice for this as well, and I was constantly getting 30.2s and 3s. 4 would have been considered quite a bad lap for me, so I was pretty confident to get a 3 or a 2. This lap here, I believe, is actually a 1 with still some time to improve because my best time I've done is actually a 29.9 on Prime, so that is the potential. So a 2 or a 3 I would be quite happy about, but anything below that I'd be quite upset with myself. So we'll be able to see coming across the line now, Martin's done a 30.2 and we've done a 30.1, and it was a pretty nice lap, a little bit of time to improve on. But you'll be able to see my sectors, which are going to come up now on the screen once I retire from this. You'll be able to see my first sector, something I've been struggling a little bit recently. For some reason, it feels really good, but the times just aren't amazing. I think it's a 27.9, which is actually okay, but a 37.5, almost 4 middle, 4 being my PB. That is an absolutely rapid middle sector. And looking back at the lap, I can see why. I just feel really, really good for Maggots and Beckers with a 7 last as well. So now we are in the qualifying of the actual session itself. You can see going out on track nice and early. No one's actually set a time yet. I just really wanted to just get a lap in, a good lap in, and make everyone else chase it down because that's what worked for me last time. So coming around the last corner now, really important to get a good exit here because it carries a lot of speed for the first sector. So get a nice exit onto here using 7.6 wings for this race. Going out wide here, really attacking that curve, borderline cutting out, but just about got away with it. At braking at the 100 metre ball, the car ahead of us there puts us off, so we actually go in a little bit deep, so not really what we wanted, but still managed to get a nice decent turn and good traction off this corner. Really important to keep it tight. DRS as low as you can. And let's see what this first sector is. Going a little bit out wide, a little bit distracted there, but it's a 27.9, so it's not a bad first sector, so I still know that a 30.1 is definitely possible. With a 24.7 last sector, I've done a 6 before, so I know I could make that up on the 30.1 lap. A decent exit off here, really important going down this old pit straight. Getting a really nice exit, and this corner here is the corner of the lap. Look at this. Absolutely leaving nothing on the table there. So pushing as hard as I can, but going in this 8th gear, and we missed the apex, which makes it super tight for this one. Completely missing the apex once again. And it may not look as that bad, but running on the curb a bit as well. But you can see a 5.7 middle, which is just really, really not good. And you'll be able to see at the end of the qualifying what that said to us. But we're missing the apex again at the end of this straight. So just the first sector was decent. Old turn 1, it was looking so good. And then we just turned in too late. That's basically what happened, turning in too late, which really compromised our life in Maggots and Beckers, and we done a 30.6. And to be honest, I was absolutely furious at myself. I was absolutely furious because you can see Martin's done a 30.3, and we've been doing 1s and 2s in practice, even a 29. I felt like I just completely threw that away there. And we didn't get to see my sectors, but I had a 8. I think I almost had a 9 middle sector, so pretty much 4 attempts off of what we should be doing in that middle sector. So that was just so annoying, but it was my own fault. But we've got to stick with it. Left us in 10th because a few people were on soft tyres. So getting to the start of the race now, lights have gone out, and we got a really good start. So really reacting well to the lights as we did in Austria. a little bit clustered at the first corner. It looks like some of the streets are spinning out. The two Williams actually come together. No one's behind us. It looks like no one's. And we've actually been clipped by Ciaru, and we've just been catapulted into the wall, taking Flying Finn with us as well. That is just... Oh, God. I was just so gutted, to be honest. I was just so gutted after that. We could see a little bit of a slow motion as going to his first corner, being super cautious. So using the brakes, going off the throttle, as you can see the right-hand side, trying to avoid the Red Bull, trying to avoid Williams. Look at the arrow. The arrow's diagonal to my right. You can see the arrow. Now it's disappeared. Can't see anything in my right mirror. And out of nowhere, I get clipped by Ciaru. And then that is us into the wall. Because looking at the proximity arrow, it was behind me to my right, and then it just disappeared. I assumed that he'd just gone behind me again, so I had absolutely no idea that someone was alongside me, because that's the problem with this game. If someone's completely alongside you, you can't see them at all. The arrow just disappears. So I just thought he tucked back in and inside me, looking really good to make up some positions. And then we get a little clip from Ciaru, and the contact model of this game just pinballs us into the Flying Finn to our left, so we lost control of the car completely to our left, and that is us losing our wing, and now back into second to last place pretty much. And it was tough. I know I've had quite a few bad moments this season, but that is the cherry on the cake, really, to be honest. That was the most painful one, because the pace I was having in practice and even in the qualifying before, just through my own mistake in the qualifying, I'm not going to blame the car this time or anything because of how oversteery it is. I was just feeling super confident. Just turning in too late for that Magnussen Beckett's just really compromised my lap. And, you know, we paid a penalty of starting mid-pack. And if you start mid-pack, you're running the risk of running into those kind of incidents. And for me, that was no one's fault. I just think it's a racing incident. It's not Ciara's fault or anyone else's. It's just one of those things. And with the contact mode of this game, if that was in 2013, that wouldn't have happened. But it's this game and it happens. And yeah, it's just so tough to take in these situations, because I was just feeling so good, and the race pace was just looking back to how I was in 2013, the way I was driving in this race. And you'll be able to see for the rest of this race, there's no race this season where I felt like I've pushed every single lap, left nothing on the table. And in this race here, I just pushed my absolute maximum. I forgot about the tyre wear, just didn't care about the tyre wear. I just pushed my absolute maximum and just see what could happen. And I did myself proud at the end of this race, the way I drove. And you'll be able to see in this lap now, this is just an example of how I drove pretty much almost every lap for the rest of this race. So this will give you a good example of how it was. So really leaving nothing on the table. And after the race, I felt I couldn't give any more than this. And as I said, previous races this season were just how me just really not liking the car I'm driving, and just other things as well. I just feel like I've been holding stuff back, really, even in the race as well. Just really not being able to just let myself go and just really just drive to my full potential. But this race, I guess you could take the positive of that. I can just finally kind of know how to drive and really just go for it. And that's what I did this race. It felt like I was racing on 2014, 2013 again, where it was literally flat out every single lap, just showing what I can do. And most of the time, I got good results doing that. So I plan to do that for the rest of the season. And you can see this lap is a really nice lap here. Go on the medium tyres again, because we're going to have to make another stop. There's no way we could have gone to the end of the race. And that's a 32.8, which is a pretty rapid lap at the start of the race. So, you know, we got the pace, we got the setup. We just need the luck now in the race. And, you know, you can argue that was pretty much my fault. I'm more annoyed at myself than at the incident itself, because if I just qualified where I should have qualified, just doing my own good lap, now even with 2 tenths off my PB, 2 tenths off my PB would have got me 30.1, which would have been the highest prime, and I would have started in 3rd place. But it's all should have, could have, you know, there's no point saying that. But moving back to the race, we're in 12th place because a few of the guys have actually pitted and they're actually behind us now. You can see the guys, they came out just in front of me. So we're making our 2nd pit stop of the race, and this should put us back into 2nd to last place. And my mindset now was, as I said, is just to just go for it, just push as hard as you can. And whatever happens, happens. I had no idea what kind of result I could get from this race, but just really just for my own pride of just pushing as hard as I can, and being honest, I was so close to leaving after that first corner because I just put in so much time and effort, and for that to happen, it just kind of just ruins your Sunday, to be honest. So you just got to go over those things, and as I said, I can't really be angry at the game or anything, to be honest, because I wouldn't have been in that position if I just qualified further up the grid, and that's what I really need to focus on now, is just really nailing in the qualifying. And if I do that, and which I have done this season in some races where I've qualified well, still not to my potential, but still qualified well, I've had good races whenever I've been in the top 5. So that's really the lesson to be learned here. So just got to carry that forward for the next few races. But you can see Ciaru, we came out just ahead of him. He's got to go down the inside, but we're actually going to cover him off for this. And the slipstream man here, again, something I was just not a fan of for this game. It's just the slipstream contact model, and just the arrows, the proximity arrows, I'm just not a fan of. It's pretty much almost impossible to overtake, well, pretty much impossible to pull away from someone in this game. Particularly on this track, it seems very, very strong on this track. So, we're going to do our best here. But I think we're on board for my fastest lap of the race. And this is another indicator of just how I was driving. And you'll be able to see my lap times at the end. They were like super mega consistent as well. So it just kind of frustrates me even more that I knew that was in the tank. And if I think I was at the front of the race, I think I could have taken it. It felt like China, to be honest. I felt like I had that in the bag. I didn't have this in the bag, but I felt I definitely had quickest car on track, I feel. If I could have actually just got out on the lead, I think I could have controlled the race. But there's no point saying that. But the thing that frustrates me really is that you only get one prime tyre for your qualifying. And I know people will say, well, everyone else, it's the same for everyone else, which is the same, but you should have more than one selection of being able to choose, more than one lap on the harder time. Because if you did 2 laps, you wouldn't have been able to do a one stop in this race. You could have, but your tyres would have been awful at the end. And it just doesn't really show the guy's true potential. It just shows, if you mess up one lap and you just don't get your potential, then you just going to be punished for it. And again, you can say that's a skill thing, which it is, but in a way, it just doesn't reward who is the actual faster driver, and that's just so frustrating. So I really hope they can actually patch it in. Like, seriously, I really hope they do. And we managed to do a 32 again. I think it's a 32.7, I think, looking at that again or something. So that's fastest lap, and we pretty much continue to do that kind of lap for the rest of the race now. And we've got Ciara right behind us. We just can't shake him off, despite how far away he was on the back straight and how hard we're pushing at the moment. We really can't shake him off. But right now, we're driving incredibly well. F1 2013-esque. As you can see, we're going purple for that first sector as well. And now we've started to actually catch some cars in front of us. So I think that some guys have actually pitted again, maybe. But we are catching the guys in front. You can see Hamilton at the start of the stint. He was over 4 seconds or so ahead of us, and now we've actually closed him down. So again, just showing what pace we've got. But we've now got Ciaru, who's actually overtaken us through the slipstream. So he's managed to get past us on the back straight, and we're going to launch an attack into chicane because I just wasn't having that. I'm going down near the inside again. And the main reason I did that is because I want to make sure I'm actually behind Hamilton. I want to make sure I'm in front of Ciaru once I get to these 2 cars, because if I was behind Ciaru and he managed to get through these 2 cars and I got held up, then that's pretty much my chance of beating him in the race. Because I had something similar in AOR career with me and Tyrrell Martin about a year or so ago, where he was the car in front of me. He managed to get through a couple of the guys ahead of him, and I got stuck behind him. I couldn't get past the lap, and I lost about 2 seconds, and I couldn't close him down quick enough at the end of the race. So I'm making sure I'm the guy ahead of the guy behind me, if that makes any sense, pretty much. But so we're behind Hamilton now in the Mercedes, and I believe it's Martin who's leading the race. He's on the medium tyre, or he started on the medium tyre, so he managed to get past the guys ahead, and a simple one stop from there. As long as he's consistent, I couldn't see anyone else really beating him in this race. Behind Hamilton, going for the old turn 1 now, and we've just slightly cut the corner, and that's given us a 3-second penalty, which is pretty annoying because that's my third warning of the race, and this track is particularly harsh on warnings, even on some corners where you're not even going off the track, I feel, to be honest. I think on the last corner, even if you go off, you get like a 10-second penalty, which is just ridiculous. But we're going down the inside of Hamilton now, braking super late. So I was really determined to just try and actually get some points, because I could see how far away the guys ahead, and I knew there was still chances. Hamilton's attempt to go back down the inside, but we're going to leave him room because we can actually see the arrow this time, unlike what happened on turn 1 on lap 1. So we're leaving this space down the inside, and that is us into 13th place. And I think we're going to stay on board now to try and see if we can catch Snowdor in front of us. And Ciara's actually managed to slip in as well. So I was kind of hoping he'd be held up by Hamilton a little bit, because I believe Hamilton's on the older tyres, to try and break his DRS. Because I felt if I could break his DRS, then I felt I could really keep him contained in this race. But with the slipstream and obviously Ciara being a good driver, it's pretty much impossible for that to happen around here. So got to focus on ahead. A couple of cars ahead, or just, we're 3 cars away from the points at the moment, and you never know if their tyres go off. As Snowdor has made a huge mistake going on the grass, and that's us into 12th place. So he's just completely just lost traction there. And we'll take it. That means we don't have to overtake them and use our tyres up or anything. So that is us into 12th place. And now I've got Ciara, who's obviously managed to slip in as well. The next car on the list is Mike Marshmallow, who's on the medium tyres. So I'm not sure how much fresher his tyres are than mine, or if they're older, then he's going to be really struggling at the end of this race, because they really go off quite badly. Ciara's going to go down the inside, so the straight line speed, we're not really going to fight it in this one, but we're going to make a good exit, a good comeback, because someone's actually going to the pits. So AOR Ryken's going to the pits, and then we have to re-overtake Ciara, just having that better traction coming off that top corner. And that's us into 11th place, and someone else has actually gone to the pits as well. So I believe that is us into 10th place. So after being 19th, over 50 seconds behind the leader, and you can see on lap 1, I think when we were coming out the turn 3, I think they were going through Maggotts and Beckett. So that's how far behind we were in this race. The Ciara's go overtake us once again, and I think we're just going to let him go this time. So there's no point staying in elite mix. I don't think we're going to have a chance to go down his inside this time. So we're just slotting in behind him this time. We've got braking really early, he is for me in this one. But just slotting in behind him and see if we can catch the guys in front of us. But we're currently out of points position. And I was really desperate to get that points position back, because that would just be, just a nice thing to have after the race we had at the start. Just to get that back would be, not so much as a tough pill to swallow after that one. But we could see getting a nice exit on this DRS zone and rich mix should be quite an easy pass, as it is going into Hangar Corner. That is us back into 10th place, braking quite late there, managing to get the move done. Looks like he's not going to have a chance for us to come back, and that is us into 10th place with 4 laps to go in this race. But we're moving on to the last lap now, because we've actually caught 2 cars ahead of us. We managed to catch Leobot, and I think that's Mike Marshmallow. So you can see our pace in his tyre, just with the durability of his tyre as well, and the 2 guys ahead of us being in the mediums, their tyres are definitely going off, along with us. I was just pushing absolutely flat out at this point, just driving the absolute wheels off the car. There's nothing more I could do in this race, to be honest. And we're just really going to try and get these 2 positions that, because we managed to catch, I think we caught Leobot by 2 or 3 seconds last lap, so his tyres are going off really badly, and you can see that through the apex speed. He is really struggling at the moment. We've still got a bit of fuel left as well, so we managed to save some fuel quite nicely in this race. It's not really too fuel draining as long as you use it sensibly, but going through this corner, taking it nice, and look at the apex speed we're taking. It's just so much quicker than the Torosso's. Tiro Martin wins the race, and we're going through Maggotts and Beckett's now. You can see he's really struggling, so take a nice wide line, do a really late apex, just getting the traction of getting the throttle much earlier in him. Now we're in rich mix DRS, but he's actually got DRS as well, and it looks like we're not even catching him, so we're going to have to do a really late move into this, so pulling out, and we're going mega late on the brakes here, so I'm super late on the brakes for this one, because I was just so determined, controlling oversteer on the exit, braking late again, just to make sure he doesn't go down the inside. Looks like Mike Marshmallow is out of reach on this one, but we've come round in 9th place, and actually 8th place somehow. So, we did everything we could here, and we managed to come in, what was that, 8th place, but I think AOR Reversal is going to get his 10-second penalty removed because he went out wide last corner. It just gives you an instant 10-second penalty. But we're able to look at my lap times for this race. You'll be able to see just the consistency we had. 3 warnings in that race, or 4 warnings in that race in total, and you can see the consistency we had here. There's not really too much we could have done more than that, and it was really painful, just that first lap. But as I said, if we qualified higher, then we wouldn't have been in that scenario. But this was probably the toughest race I've had of the season, just because of how dominant my pace was compared to other people in the field, and just the consistency. We only finished 52 seconds behind the leader. And, if you think of a pit stop's 26 seconds, and then we had a 30 seconds slower in lap, what could have been? And just looking at the race time as well, I think it was like a 4:05 or something, as we're joining Finn's pie here. But, I think we did a race time about 5 seconds faster than that as well. So, pretty depressing. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. Won't be making next race because I'll be on holiday, but thank you for the support as always, and I will catch you next time. Cheers.